My name is Betty, and at the start of last year, I enjoyed eating fancy meals a little too much. Because of that, I gained 6 kilos. Now, at 44, I'm on a diet to get ready for the holiday season. My plan is simple: lose the weight now so I can enjoy holiday treats without worrying later. Sounds like a smart idea, right? With all the delicious food from Christmas to New Year's, it's always a challenge. I might even treat myself to some Valentine's chocolate. Just thinking about it makes my mouth water. It looks like, just like every year, I might end up gaining a few extra pounds. Today, I want to share a winter story from when I was 24. After dating for years, I was getting ready to be engaged to my boyfriend, Adam. It was time for him to meet my parents, a serious step that meant wedding talks were near. My parents liked Adam, which made things easier when discussing our future. But something unexpected happened when my older sister, Linda, who is 4 years older than me, came home from work. Right away, I noticed that she was strangely interested in Adam. Sisters can understand each other without words, and it didn't take me long to see that Linda had fallen for him at first sight. At first, I thought it was just a silly crush that would pass. But when she met him, she blushed a lot and held onto his hand for too long. Her dreamy looks didn't go unnoticed by me. Even though it felt wrong for her to act this way toward my fiancé, I told myself it was just a harmless crush and that she wouldn't actually do anything about it. But things got worse after Adam left. Right after taking a shower, with only a towel wrapped around her, Linda came to me and told me to break off my engagement. She accused Adam of being a womanizer and said I deserved someone better. But when I asked for proof, she had none. She was only going by her woman's intuition. The funny thing was, Linda had never even been in a relationship before. I found it hard to take my sister's feelings seriously. After knowing Adam for so many years, I trusted him completely. I knew he was a good man, so I focused on our relationship instead of the drama my sister was creating. I didn't give much thought to her warnings and just shrugged it off with a casual, "Yeah, I'll be careful." After that conversation, Adam started visiting our house more often. He wanted to build a strong relationship with my family, which I thought was really sweet. My parents already liked him, so I hoped this would make things even better. I imagined a happy and peaceful future with him. But things started getting awkward because of my sister's behavior. According to Adam, whenever I wasn't around, she acted way too friendly with him. She would grab his arm, stand too close, and even ask him strange questions like, "Don't you think Betty is a little immature?" She even asked for his phone number and once fell in a way that exposed her underwear. Luckily, Adam found her behavior more funny than attractive, which was a relief. If he had been the type of man to encourage this, it would have been a real problem. But my sister seemed to believe she still had a chance with him. Since she was my sister, Adam couldn't just reject her harshly without making things awkward in the family. Every time they met, she would sweetly call out to him, trying to win him over. It wasn't just because she liked him at first sight. She also knew he worked for a well-known company and thought he was the perfect catch for a stable future. "He's reliable, has a handsome face, and is such a good man," she would say, completely smitten with him. Despite all this, my parents never said a word about her inappropriate behavior. Their silence didn't surprise me. They had always been passive when it came to my sister's actions. She had never been very responsible. For example, if she was asked to heat side dishes, she would accidentally use a plastic container that would melt in the microwave. She wasn't good at studies or sports either. She often skipped swimming lessons, making excuses about her foot hurting, feeling sick, or having skin problems. It was the same with household chores. She never really did them well. She wasn't particularly beautiful either. But somehow, she always managed to create drama and attract attention, just like she was doing now with Adam. As the eldest daughter, my sister had always been treated differently by our parents. They never scolded her or corrected her mistakes. Instead, they quietly expected me to support her from the background. I was always told to let my sister shine while I stayed in the background, which felt unfair. It seemed like my parents thought she wasn't as capable as me and felt sorry for her. Because of that, they spoiled her even more. I, on the other hand, was always responsible and quick to handle things on my own. Maybe for them, Helping someone who already did well wasn't as exciting, so they focused more on my sister's needs. Over time, I got used to being treated this way, even when they downplayed my abilities in front of others. But as I grew older, I started to understand the value of my hard work, especially in school. I no longer wanted to accept this family pattern. If I had continued to follow their expectations, I might have ended up doubting myself. When I started standing up for my achievements, my sister felt like I wasn't supporting her anymore. This created a small gap between us, but not a major fight. We could still talk normally, and I often gave her advice on different things. Our family had its own way of doing things. My parents were overprotective of my sister, and sometimes she felt jealous of me. But despite everything, I still thought of us as a normal family. That balance, however, was shaken when Adam didn't return my sister's feelings. Her frustration reached its peak the night before my wedding. She told our parents, "I can't accept that my younger sister is getting married before me." My parents tried to comfort her, saying, "Don't worry, you'll find a good husband too, Linda." But even with their reassurance, she was stuck on the idea that the older sister should marry first and that I was rushing into marriage too soon. "But the wedding is tomorrow." "What are you saying, Mom? Don't you care about me? I'm going to look like the sad older sister who got left behind," she cried. That night, I overheard a heated conversation between her and my parents from the hallway. Was it really necessary for her to marry before me? If I had waited for her, I would have lost precious years of my life. Her reaction felt too dramatic to me. I thought she would calm down after letting out her frustration. But instead, she made a shocking demand. "Mom and Dad will not attend the wedding tomorrow. So please, just accept that, Betty." I was shocked. My parents had actually agreed not to come to my wedding just to please my sister. It felt like they were following some strange rule where my sister had all the power. This wasn't just about spoiling her. It was something much worse. "Fine, I'll accept it. Let her have a wedding that no one in her family acknowledges," my sister finally said, but it was clear she didn't want me to marry Adam. She probably had feelings for him herself. The reality hit me. I was about to have a wedding without my parents, all because of my sister's jealousy. The night before, I barely slept, not because I was excited, but because I was filled with worry. I kept thinking about the awful conversation with my sister and parents. I couldn't forget the satisfied look on her face when she found out they wouldn't be coming. On the wedding day, I had to go through the painful task of explaining everything to Adam and his parents. "I'm sorry, but my sister is against this marriage, so my family won't be coming," I told them. Saying those words broke my heart. Adam's parents were stunned. They couldn't believe there were parents who would skip their own daughter's wedding. They stayed silent for a moment, letting the weight of the situation sink in. Sensing how painful this was for me, my mother-in-law took my hand, and my father-in-law placed his hand on top of ours. "Remember, you have family here with you. Don't let this day be a sad one. Come on, give us a smile," my mother-in-law said warmly. Her words were filled with kindness, the kind of love and support I should have received from my own parents. At that moment, standing there in my wedding dress, tears filled my eyes. But Adam quickly came to my side, gently stroking my hair. "Jessica, I'm here as your husband. Please don't worry about who isn't here," he said softly. Seeing me about to cry, my in-laws and Adam tried to cheer me up. "Don't cry, you're the bride. Your makeup will run," they joked, trying to lighten the mood. Then my mother-in-law looked at me seriously and said, "Jessica, I know this is hard, but today is the start of your new life. Focus on building your own family now." Despite feeling abandoned, I felt their warmth as they wrapped me in a tight embrace. First my mother-in-law, then Adam, then my father-in-law. At that moment, I made a promise to myself. Just as my mother-in-law had said, this was my new beginning. That day, Adam and I got married, starting our life together. 14 years have passed since then. Adam and I have been blessed with 3 children, a smart daughter who can handle anything, and 3 playful sons who always find a way to cause mischief around the house. Sometimes, I think back to that difficult time, but I have never regretted choosing Adam and the beautiful family we built together. I hear myself shouting, "Stop it now," and even I'm surprised by how much I sound like a strict mom. Life with Adam has been good, his career has grown, we bought a house, and we've been living a stable, happy life. Then one day, something completely unexpected happened. My father, mother, and sister suddenly appeared at our doorstep. After the wedding, I had distanced myself from my family and never shared my new address with them. Yet, somehow, they found us and showed up unannounced. Of course, my first words to them weren't warm greetings like, "It's been so long." Instead, I coldly asked, "What do you want?" My sister was the first to speak. "I need a favor from you," she said. My parents quickly joined in. "It's something only you can do for us," they added, looking at me seriously. I was confused. After 14 years of no contact, what could they possibly want from me now? I stayed silent, feeling both curious and uneasy. Then my mother finally spoke the shocking words. "We want you to give Adam to your sister." Adam and I stared at them in complete disbelief. "Wait, what? What do you mean I need to give Adam away?" I asked, my heart racing. My parents avoided my eyes, looking guilty, while my sister stood there with a smug look on her face. Despite being 40, still single, and now unemployed after her company shut down, she seemed completely unfazed by her situation. "It's tough," my father sighed. "We're worried about your sister's future. She's single and out of work. Your sister's. You should understand and help her." Inside, I was screaming, "No way," but I stayed quiet, wanting to hear what else they had to say. Then my father spoke again, and each word made me angrier. "She has always liked Adam, and she's still alone because of that. You've had your time with him, haven't you? Can't you let your sister have him for the rest of her life?" "What are you even saying?" I snapped, completely shocked. Adam was just as stunned, struggling to find words. My parents kept pleading, while my sister stood there, confident, as if she truly believed she would get what she wanted. Given how my parents had always spoiled her, it wasn't surprising that she thought this ridiculous demand would actually work. As I stood there, too stunned to speak, Adam pulled me aside and whispered, "This might actually be our chance to end all of this. Remember that joke you made when you were drunk? It's like it's happening for real." Feeling a strange sense of boldness, we turned back to my family. "Do you really love Adam that much?" I asked, looking directly at my sister. I looked at my sister and asked directly, "Do you really love Adam that much?"
She was caught off guard by my question.
She stammered, clearly shocked, before finally answering, "Yes, I've loved him all this time." "That's a long time to love someone who's married to someone else," I said, watching her closely. Her response was filled with emotion. "It's been so painful watching you three together. It should have been me." Adam and I struggled to keep a straight face. Her words were intense, almost as if she had convinced herself that she and Adam were meant to be. I decided to play along. "If you love him that much, I'll step aside," I said dramatically. Everyone gasped, especially my parents. "Really? But don't you love Adam too?" my mother quickly asked, looking at me in disbelief. "No," I answered casually. Adam, catching on, added, "Actually, to tell you the truth, I've always had feelings for Linda." My sister's face lit up with excitement. "Really?" "I knew it," she exclaimed, thrilled beyond reason. The whole scene was surreal. Adam and I exchanged glances, struggling not to laugh at the ridiculousness of it all. The truth was, we were happily together, but sometimes the best way to expose nonsense was to go along with it. I hugged Adam, noticing the playful sparkle in his eyes. "I've been waiting for this moment," he said, his voice shaking with suppressed laughter. Beside me, he pretended to cry, but his shaking shoulders gave him away. I leaned in and whispered, "Let's just finish this little act. We'll always be together." Meanwhile, my sister started talking to Adam as if they had been in love for years. It was as if, in her mind, she had been living a romantic story with him for the past 14 years. Adam grinned and said, "Linda, I'm so happy. Please be my support from now on."
"Yes."
"Absolutely," she replied eagerly. Then Adam dropped the bombshell. "So, I'm going to quit my job. My sister's excitement vanished instantly. Her face went pale with shock.
What?
I want to be with you all the time, Linda. So, I'm quitting my job. I won't even go outside anymore. I'll follow you everywhere, even to the bathroom. I'll watch you do housework, he said cheerfully. My sister's smile froze. Our parents looked uncomfortable. But I don't have a job either. This is the problem, she stammered. What's the problem? If we're together, we don't need to worry about money. Love is enough, Adam said, pushing the joke even further. My sister's panic grew. But these days, you need to pay for things like insurance. It's not like the old times. You can't live on love alone. Seizing the moment, I added, Adam, if we do end up divorcing, I'll be taking a good share of the money and property, so you better be ready to pay up, I said. Adam laughed and added, Don't worry, your sister and parents will handle the payments. Hearing this, my parents turned pale. They looked at each other, clearly in shock. Linda, this is hard to say, but this isn't right. You can't just take your sister's husband. My father finally spoke. Exactly, Linda. That's just not how things work, my mother added. But where had all their confidence gone? Just moments ago, they were demanding I hand over my husband. It was as if they had suddenly realized how absurd this was. What are you talking about? You promised to give Adam to me. Linda protested. That was before, my father said weakly. I don't want to hear it, my mother snapped. Frustrated, Linda turned to her for support, but instead of comforting her, our mother just looked away. Suddenly, Linda lost control. Doesn't anyone support me? She screamed, grabbing our mother's hair. My father rushed in, trying to break up the chaos. Amid all the noise, Adam calmly stepped forward and got everyone's attention. Honestly, you're not my type, Linda, he said bluntly. I respect you as Jessica's sister, but that's it. I don't want to have much to do with you. And that look you always give me? It actually makes me uncomfortable. His words hit like a slap. My sister froze, while my parents stood speechless. But Adam, what about everything you said earlier? Linda asked, her voice trembling. Please stop acting so casually with someone else's husband, I cut in. There was never a chance. He was never going to fall for you. That should have been the end of it. But as I watched my sister take slow steps toward Adam, her face pale, I blocked her path. We have a family. We are happy together, I said firmly. She stopped in her tracks and turned to me, her face twisting in anger. You tricked me, she shouted. I sighed. Linda, how could you believe that someone who hasn't contacted you for 14 years is in love with you? Isn't that unrealistic? Her face turned red, and tears welled in her eyes. I didn't hold back. Even if you were a great catch, maybe. But no one is interested in someone who has no job, depends on their parents, and I can't even take care of themselves. Mom has always done everything for you. That's not attractive. Behind me, Adam let out a quiet chuckle, understanding how ridiculous the situation was. Realizing the truth, Linda broke down into loud sobs. My parents, who had spoiled her all her life, tried to comfort her, but they looked lost, as if they were only now seeing the truth. I'm not giving Adam to you, Linda. Let it go, I said firmly. Her crying grew louder, the way a child cries when they don't get what they want. Take this as a lesson, I continued. And don't ever try to involve yourself in our lives again. No matter what problems you have in the future, don't expect any help from us. For the first time in my life, I felt free. I slowly closed the front door. When my children asked what had happened, I smiled and said lightly, It's Halloween season, so it seems a ghost showed up early. My eldest child laughed and said, Should we get rid of the ghost? I waved off the idea, but honestly, it felt strangely real. My sister's loud wailing outside had sounded just like a restless spirit. Another 5 years passed, and my sister remained single. She did manage to find a job, but her inappropriate behavior eventually got her fired. She rushed into marriage plans, but her attitude caused so many problems that she was even banned from matchmaking events. At this rate, it seems she may stay single forever. Meanwhile, my parents are still working part-time, tirelessly saving money for her. I think they've finally realized they can't depend on her to take care of them when they grow older. I hope they understand now that spoiling her all these years has its consequences. As for me, I've been lucky. Thanks to my husband's stable job and my children's academic success, I don't have to worry about school fees. Sometimes, I do wonder if having a job outside the home would help me burn off the extra weight I tend to gain during the holidays. My daughter, who is naturally slim and now going through a growth spurt, has started talking about dieting. But I always tell her, wait until you're older, like me. There's no rush. My 3 sons have a passion for dancing. Recently, they performed at a local event and won several awards. Full of confidence, they now dream of joining BTS one day. I secretly hope the band stays together long enough for them to have a real chance at making that dream come true. We often get visits from my in-laws, who are like real parents to me. The time we spend together is filled with love and laughter, especially over delicious meals. With spring break coming up, we're planning a relaxing spa trip as a family. We're all looking forward to spending quality time together. Even though my past had its struggles, my life now is filled with happiness. I have a loving husband, wonderful children, and strong family bonds. I cherish every moment and look forward to many more years of health, joy, and togetherness with my loved ones.